The Dodgers trade for an outfielder. We're going to break that down. Where could he fit in? What will his role be in this organization? Also, it's Tuesday, so that's big injury update day. Got some new news on Emmet Sheehan, Clayton Kershaw, Brusdar Graterol. We got Michael Kopech showing Ohtani. We're talking about all the injured Dodgers and when we could see them back. Also, a Dodgers Did You Know? And we'll take in all your questions. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, ready to parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Mookie Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
And what is up, Dodgers Nation? And welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you're new to the channel, do us a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button. Also, join our Discord. We got thousands and thousands of Dodgers fans chatting every single day in the Discord, all Dodger talk 24/7, 365. So be sure to do that. Also, my new channel, The Big Lead. It's the hottest stories in sports in less than an hour. If they're talking about it in the world of sports, we are talking about it. So definitely join The Big Lead. And absolutely, if you haven't yet, go to gearup.la and pick up the new shirts. You got the Comet, the Hassan Kim t-shirt. You've got the new Rookie of the Year t-shirt. Hopefully that definitely trends in the right direction for sure. We see a better version of Roki Sasaki, and I think that he's trending upward. He's going to pop. Trust me, he's going to pop. And lots of cool shirts too. The LA Villain shirt's really awesome as well. So definitely go to gearup.la if you want to support the channel. I asked you guys over on the X for today's Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. How concerned are you about the Dodgers' injuries to their starting pitchers? And right now, 23% say extremely concerned, 31% say pretty concerned, 38% say a little concerned, and 8% say not concerned. So let me know down below, how concerned are you with the injuries to the Dodgers starting pitchers? But we got a jam-packed show, so let's get it going with the leadoff.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
All right, so we got word during the show yesterday that the Dodgers had acquired an outfielder, Steward Berroa, from the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Dodgers, they gave up cash considerations. And yes, this isn't a blockbuster deal. This isn't a Mookie Betts level trade or anything like that. But I wanted to ask around, talk to people I know in Toronto, give you guys the scoop on what the Dodgers can expect with Berroa. Also, the role that he's going to have in this organization. And let's dive into it. So first thing you got to know is the Dodgers didn't give up a player for him. They gave up cash considerations. There wasn't a lot they had to give up or anything like that. They didn't give a player, a prospect, or anything of value. If there's one organization that can give up cash and not feel it in the pocket, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. They print money with how successful they are. And the other thing you got to know is they had an open spot on the 40-man roster. After the Dodgers DFA'd Yandris Gomez, and when Yandris Gomez was DFA'd, he had an extra roster spot. So you fill that extra roster spot with Berroa, and he's still young. He turns 26 next month. He's played 28 games in the show. Last year, he played for the Blue Jays. He had 45 plate appearances. Hit 189, had a 333 on base, a 216 slug, had 6 stolen bases and 8 attempts. So where are his strengths? It's base running in the 89th percentile in sprint speed. Also, his defense, it graded out as above average. So those are his strengths, base running and defense. And even you dive into some of his minor league numbers, he had 58 stolen bases in 2021. He has just been always a menace on the base pass at the minor league level. Now, this year down in AAA wasn't getting off to a great start, hit 195 in 24 games before he was DFA'd by the Blue Jays. He did fare better before in AAA when he stepped onto the scene, had 300 plate appearances at the AAA level. In AAA, he had a 120 weighted runs created plus, had 11.7 walk rate, a 23.7 strikeout rate, so that's a little high, but he also stole 34 bases. So has had some success down at the minor league level. Couple of reasons why the Dodgers would want someone like Berroa. One, he still has options, so you can send him up and down. He's got those options. That's something that they like. They like the flexibility there. You can send him to the minors. The Dodgers can bring him back up to the big league club if they ever need him as a depth piece if someone gets injured. And then also, as far as his peak, kind of where could he fit in? I mean, if everything worked out for this guy, he's more like a fourth outfielder type because he's someone that just, it doesn't feel like the bat is going to really turn on to the level where you see him as a big league starter. He's someone that if you're wondering what his role could be, it's as a pinch runner, a defensive replacement. If they develop him at the plate, great. What I've heard about him is, look, there is some hard hit balls in that bat, and the idea is that the Dodgers can have success with him. I mean, Esteury Ruiz, he's played really well down for the OKC Comets, and his bat has improved since going into the organization. But the question I have, though, is this a depth piece in the event of an injury, or is this a little deeper than that? Is this a indication that maybe if James Outman doesn't work out and they're going to demote James Outman because he does have options and you hope to develop his bat, and if you need him in the event of an injury, you can always bring him up. And James Outman has had some moments since coming back. He had the big home run, crushed a bomb in Miami. So that was good to see. Since James Outman has been back and he got his opportunity with the injuries, so far he's 1 for 15 with the home run, hitting 67 and has 10 strikeouts and 15 at-bats so far. So is this an indication that they're possibly going to move on from James Outman, or if they decide to do that or trade him, or in any way you still have depth in the organization, maybe there's that. Like I said, I'm trying to look as deep as I possibly can into everything, and that's a possibility. The other question is, you give him a 40-man roster spot. Those are valuable, right? So you wouldn't just give that to anyone unless you thought that they could have a role for this team. And certainly depth is beneficial. You need that. They're going to have him report to AAA Oklahoma City. You got James Outman and Hesson Kim at the major league level right now with the injuries to Tommy Edman and Teoscar Hernández. But right now it's a depth piece for sure. It's a depth piece for sure. And his future could be as a bench piece, a pinch runner. He's kind of in the bucket of the Esteury Ruiz type down there. But I will say you definitely want to see some promotions too down at the minor league level. I mean, Ramos from Tulsa to OKC, DePaula has really turned it on with the bat. You want to see him go from Great Lakes to Tulsa. Mike Sirota has been fantastic. You want to see him get promoted from Rancho to Great Lakes. So you look at the outfielders at the minor league level. I mean, Ryan Ward is someone you could add it to the 40-man roster. So I think he has a lot more potential than a Steward Berroa. So yeah, it's that's the question I have is, I mean, what do you do with Ryan Ward in that situation? Do you promote some of those guys down there? And at the very least, I mean, he's a lottery ticket, a solid lottery ticket that is that, like I said, in AAA, hit 281, 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, 34 stolen bases. The dude can run. He's a switch hitter. He's got options. I don't know why the Blue Jays trade him, because they don't have great depth in that organization. That's what I was told by someone from Toronto, is why did they trade him considering that they don't have the best depth? So that's kind of where we're at on Steward Berroa. I mean, if I don't bring up him for the rest of this year, it's probably a good thing. To be honest, it's probably a good thing because it means that the Dodgers stayed healthy. Their players that were at the big league level did not struggle. So if this is the last segment on Steward Berroa of the season or for the foreseeable future, probably a good thing for the Dodgers, or could be the opposite. It's the Dodgers. They found the ultimate diamond in the rough, and You got a guy for cash considerations that came up and had a massive impact. Okay, so let's read some comments before we head to our big injury update. We got Drew Rockwell. Are the Dodgers still on pace to break regular season MLB? No, they're not even close, Drew. They're actually at 106, 107 win pace right now. That could certainly go up. You just had a 10-game road trip where you went 6-4. You split the series against the Marlins. So certainly, I think the Dodgers in a good spot considering the fact that despite all these injuries, despite not having your ace from the offseason that you signed in Blake Snell, despite having Tyler Glasnow miss time, Roki Sasaki hasn't pitched to the level that we had hoped, but still, I think that he's right on track. He's doing fine. Dustin May, he's provided some quality innings for sure. Gonson's come up. The offense was missing Freddie for 11 games, and he's looking like an MVP level player for sure. The fact that the Dodgers are still, despite not having played their best baseball, despite all that, the Dodgers have the best record in the sport at 27-14, and they're a half game up on the Detroit Tigers. So no, they are not on pace to have baseball's best record, which is 116 games. It was done twice. That is, well, no, though. Look, it's going to be a Dodgers summer, man. It's heating up, starting to be sunnier longer. When it heats up, so do the Dodgers. And I know that Dodgers summer is coming. And when that happens, they go on that run, then we can start talking about that. BC, I'm looking forward to Panda tomorrow. SK, who's considered little brother, Angels or Padres? I like that question. I'm going to answer it during the 7th inning stretch. By the way, we got producer Noel Young Lotto rocking with us as always. He's looking for your comments of the show. We're going to give it a comment of the show today during the 7th inning stretch. We'll answer the little brother question. I like that. It's a good question. It is I don't want to tip off my answer, but we'll get into that a little later for sure. Roy Estrada says, DMAC, the Outman experiment is over. Yeah, I mean, look, even Dave Roberts kind of said, hey, he knows what he needs to do. Bob Nightingale was on this show, and he said that the White Sox were intrigued in James Outman and that they viewed him as a potential piece. Maybe a change of scenery, the opportunity to get everyday playing time is what he needs, and just the pressure of this organization. I mean, look, everyone wants to bring up Gavin Lux. I think Gavin Lux had more sustained success than James Outman had. I mean, James Outman's Rookie of the Year campaign was pretty solid. He finished 3rd in 2023, had 23 home runs. Gavin Lux, though, he goes to Cincinnati, and he's been above average player in 282, the 112 OPS plus. Just one home run, though. I'm not losing sleep over not having Gavin Lux. A .2 WAR. I love Luxy. By the way, I did see some comments saying we should just never change the bruh. I mean, we'll talk about that later too, but what are you guys' thoughts on that? Noel, look for some comments on the bruh thing, because I have some options, but maybe if we get a really awesome one day, like a Blake Snell, he can give you the bruh face every now and then, but the Gavin Lux one is pretty classic. So we'll get to that one for sure. Okay, coming up next, guys, big injury update Tuesday. We got the latest on the injured Dodgers. That is coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Messed up. His dad watched the show. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Of course, we got Noel. That was his shirt. He actually rocked that LA Villain shirt on his latest reel, which is really cool because that shirt in real life, IRL, looks really fire. So go to gearup.la. Cop our latest merch, guys. We've got a lot of merch on the way. Any ideas for t-shirts? Any graphic designers out there that want to design a t-shirt, hit us up too. I mean, we have some opportunities for t-shirt designs. But guys, it is Tuesday. I know it feels like half the team is always on the IL, but we got some good updates, some concerning updates. But let's get into it here on this week's big injury update.
Dodgers big injury update.
All right, so let's start with Teoscar Hernández. So Teoscar Hernández has been on the IL with a left groin strain. Dave has kind of gone back and forth. At first, he said he was concerned. It's an adductor. It was a grade 1 adductor strain. That's what the MRI revealed. He did resume hitting in a cage, and he's expected to take live at-bats during this homestand against the Oakland A's. So he was placed on the IL, the 10-day IL on May 6th. He's expected to return in late May. And I think for Teoscar, the team's winning. You got a pretty easy schedule coming up. Relative. You see the Padres blew that against the Angels. Bruh. But Teoscar coming back is pivotal. But the good thing is you got guys heating up, especially the MV3. Shohei, Freddie, and Mookie have all really kind of been on tears. I mean, Freddie the most, then Shohei right behind him, and then Mookie has really started to pick it up. But I think for Teoscar, just the key is you don't want this to linger. When he's back, you have him stay back. Adductors can be tricky, so you don't want to see him out for an extended period of time. I think it's pretty funny. I remember Mookie Betts saying about Teoscar Hernández that Mookie says, hey, when I show up, I got to do my hitting routine. I got to make sure all my mechanics are in line. Teoscar Hernández can show up, last guy off the bus, last guy on the bus, pick up a bat, take a swing, and get you a single, get you an extra base hit. So sometimes this stuff comes easier to other guys. And Teoscar, you're not worried about the swing or the mechanics. It's just about making sure he's healthy because he's been fantastic this season. Now, next update is about Tommy Edman. So Tommy Edman, he has been on the IL since May 3rd. 10-day IL is retroactive to April 30th. And Dave said that he's still feeling some discomfort in his ankle while running. He has resumed taking live at-bats, though. So that is progress for Tommy Edman. He said that, hey, the good thing about this, the silver lining is it does change the dynamic of the team in the sense that you did get an opportunity to see what Ha-Seong Kim is able to do. Kim hitting over 300, providing some life to this team. Obviously, Tommy Edman's an NLCS MVP, is one of the massive glue guys. For him and almost Teoscar, I'm almost thinking, hey, I want these guys to be all-stars. So we know to be an all-star, you have to have success in the first half of the season. So I'm sure that maybe just a little bit that's crossing their minds because Edman was on pace to be an all-star. Teoscar Hernández, the same thing. So you definitely want to see that as well as those guys coming back, gain opportunity to get those numbers to be able to make the all-star team. But he did take live at-bats against Emmet Sheehan, and then him and Teoscar, they're going to face pitchers who they're going to bring up. So Dave said that they're going to bring up some pitchers, Rancho, wherever, and Tommy Edman and Teo are going to face them this week. He said Teo's trending well, is working in the cage. He said that Edman's ankle is at 80%, and the missing factor right now is running straight ahead. So this ankle injury, it was supposed to be nothing, and then he woke up the next day, and it was something. So that is where you're at with Tommy Edman. The expected date for him, hopefully everything goes right. He turns the corner. He gets closer to 100%. And hopefully we see him at some point this week in either the A's series or the Angels series. I mean, I'm going to be at the stadium in a couple hours, and we're going to get some more information on Tommy Edman. Lots of injury updates today, I'm sure, from Dodgers Stadium. Now, speaking of Emmet Sheehan, this is the most interesting update, I think, that we're going to get into this week, and that is that Sheehan has resumed facing live hitters, and Dave said is getting closer to beginning a rehab assignment. He faced live hitters. He threw 40 pitches on Thursday, so that's very promising. Up to 40 pitches, facing live hitters. The velocity is trending in the right direction, and this is a guy that not a lot of people are talking about just because he didn't pitch last year. In 2023, 11 starts, 13 appearances, had a 4.92 ERA, 64 strikeouts in 60 1/3 innings. Did make a postseason appearance, went 3 2/3 innings in that dreadful 11-2 loss in Game 1. And Sheehan did allow 3 of those runs, but it was the flashes for Emmet Sheehan. I had people tell me within the organization that Emmet Sheehan had the most explosive fastball in the organization. I think now there's some other guys that have some really good fastballs since I was told that, but still the point remains the same, is when it comes to stuff, Emmet Sheehan has stuff. He's got high ceiling, high upside, and this is a guy that if injuries start to pile up and he comes back and he's looking really good, maybe he can have a role for this team that's a little more than what was originally expected. So I think that they're kind of viewing him as, hey, not necessarily a secret weapon, but someone that can really jump in there and I think provide life, even if it's a short burst situation out of the bullpen as a starter that you're just kind of ramping up. I mean, they've had success with Gonsolin coming back in swing and miss. Ben Kasparius has looked really good. Dustin May's had his ups and downs, but he's been really good too for stretches. So they have had some luck with some of these guys coming back off injuries. Emmet Sheehan could be the next guy to do that. Now, we did talk about Kersh yesterday, but if you did not watch yesterday's show, the update on Clayton Kershaw is that, as I've been telling you for a couple weeks now, the date that I circled was this Sunday against the Angels. May 18th at home. I think he's going to make his first start of the season. Clayton Kershaw is going to begin his 18th season with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That will tie Bill Russell for the most years ever played with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It will make him the longest tenured pitcher to ever pitch with this team. He'll have pitched more seasons with the Dodgers than any pitcher in the history of this franchise. And in his last rehab start with AAA Oklahoma City on Sunday, he tossed 57 pitches, threw 35 strikes, went 4 innings, had 2 strikeouts, gave up a couple runs on a couple of hits, issued 2 walks, but that is going to be his last rehab start. Clayton Kershaw is going to be back on the bump for your boys in blue. Shout out to the Kershans out there. And everyone was talking about the length of his rehab. Like, wait a minute, his rehab is so long. Why is that? Well, yeah, it's long because you wanted to make sure the toe, the surgically repaired toe, and his knee were at 100% because you wanted to give him the best push-off that he can have so he can maximize his velocity. Now, he doesn't need to throw 100 to be effective, but he wants 90 to 92. Like Dave said a few days ago, Kersh is always going to be chasing velocity because he knows that differential between the fastball and the slider and the curveball, that is what's going to allow him to be most effective. And now he's working in changeups, different pitches to kind of keep hitters off balance through some two-seamers recently. And I think what has me most encouraged about Kersh is the fact that he said his arm is feeling great. It's his toe. It's the knee. And this is a surgically repaired arm that before the toe injury, he had his moments. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to really help this team. I think he's going to bring some balance to the rotation. We're going to get those 32 strikeouts. It's going to be special to have him enter that 3,000 strikeouts club. Will be just the 20th pitcher in big league history to go there. And another thing that I picked up on from Kersh back during spring training is this could be it, but if it is it, he wants to go out on his own terms. Kersh said back in spring training, I hope this is the last time I have to rehab. I'm kind of done with that. But at the same time, I don't want that to be the reason that I stop playing. Honestly, I can walk out on my own terms, whatever that is, but it just didn't feel like it was the right time. That tells me if Kersh comes back, has a healthy season, the Dodgers win the World Series, he's going to hang him up and go out as a World Series champion. So Kersh hasn't been official, but he's going to be back this Sunday, I'm telling you, against the Angels. If everything goes right, that has to be the plan right now. Then next, how about Michael Kopech? I'm going to give Michael Kopech a Let's Go Dodgers because his first rehab appearance, it did not go swimmingly. Michael Kopech, in his first rehab appearance, he threw 23 pitches. 20 of those 23 pitches were balls through just 3 strikes. He threw 18 straight balls at one point. And when he threw his first strike on a 3-0 count, he actually waved to the sarcastic crowd. So I like the way he handled it. I thought that was hilarious. But he was placed on the 60-day IL with a right shoulder impingement. He had those 5 walks, struggled, did throw mid to upper 90s. I think he topped out at 98. But his second rehab start second rehab appearance went a lot better. He struck out 2 batters, gave up just 1 hit, issued no walks in his scoreless inning of relief. It was his second rehab appearance and was with AAA Oklahoma City. The fastball velocity ticked up 99.7 miles per hour on the heater. He threw 14 pitches, 10 first strikes, so he's much more efficient. The velocity was up, the efficiency was up. And let's not forget this. I saw people dogging Kopech on X because of those 5 walks, because he couldn't throw strikes in his first appearance. My man had not pitched in a game setting since the World Series. Imagine going from the World Series to minor league baseball and you're not at 100%, okay? It's not the same, all right? It is not the same. So Michael Kopech heading in the right direction. Hopefully we see him towards the end of May and everything goes right. So I'm encouraged by that. I think Kopech is feeling good. And he told me this offseason that if he wasn't ill and he kind of got sick, that kind of set him back. So there's that factor as well, that it's not all just the arm. And the velocity training like that, you got to feel good about that. Okay, let's keep moving, guys. A big injury update. We're going to get to your comments in a little bit. Evan Phillips. So Evan Phillips, he started the season on the IL, was activated on April 19th. He finished that rehab on his right rotator cuff, kept him out of the World Series last year. And when he was back, he was really good. He appeared in 7 of the Dodgers' 14 games since returning, didn't give up a run in 5 2/3 innings. His last appearance, he got the save against the Marlins last Monday, but he hasn't been bouncing back right. Phillips said, I always felt good when I pitch, so that's kind of where my disappointment comes in. I do feel like I can still contribute, but I think what it comes down to is we don't want to mess around with something in early May. We don't really have the luxury of giving me a couple of days off here to figure it out. So we decided best to just be cautious with it. So look, to be cautious with this makes sense for sure. You're in first place. It's May. You won't see him back until June, but he has just dealt with injuries last couple of seasons. And my concern level is definitely more than a 0. I think it's probably at a 5 for Evan Phillips, because he's got inflammation in his elbow. It's going to take some time. That's what Dave said. It's going to be a couple of weeks until he picks up a ball. They mentioned about his value and how important he is as a high leverage guy for this bullpen. But the good thing is that they did an additional MRI and they found no changes. It just showed inflammation. So yeah, I mean, the best thing about it is Dave said he's not concerned, but he said that about a lot of guys too, right? I mean, I need to see Evan Phillips back on the mound for an extended period of time to feel really good about where he's at. But thankfully, the MRI didn't show anything additionally, and it's just inflammation. Okay, the big one for the starting pitcher side, the first is Blake Snell. He's been dealing with left shoulder inflammation. His status is he's still feeling discomfort in his shoulder. He did not resume playing catch as was expected, as was the original plan during the Dodgers' 10-game road trip. But the concern for me, and look, I do want to point out that this was the Dodgers were on the road, and this was already a part of the plan. So it was already a part of the plan. But the concern for me is he is going to visit Dr. Neil Elitrach with Tyler Glasnow. And yes, like I said, that is something that it's not out of the ordinary for sure, but they were set to visit him Monday. So we'll ask Dave today, what was the status of that? What was the big development with all of that as far as, hey, did anything change? Is he going to resume? Is he going to feel better? Because I think for me, I really, really hope that this is not one of those signs that goes down in history as the Jason Schmidt types. I don't think it is. I think it's way too early to say anything crazy like that. But I will say that having this concern is definitely right at the top. It's the number one concern I have right now as far as the Dodgers injuries. Then Tyler Glasnow, he left the game on April 27th. And we know that he had his shoulder grabbing and that he's resumed playing catch. So that's definitely good. He played catch over the weekend. So that definitely is definitely a positive sign in the right direction, but they're still trying to figure that out. Shohei Ohtani, he threw 35 pitches, did his first up-down over the weekend through 4-seam fastballs, some 2-seamers, some splitters. They're still looking to get those sliders in there, and they want to have him face live hitting. So that's the big thing for Shohei. Throw sliders, do more up downs, face live batters. That is the number one thing for Shohei Ohtani. I don't think we're going to see him until after the All-Star break. I think that is the plan for sure. Brusdar Graterol. A lot of people ask about him. We won't see him until September. He underwent right shoulder labrum surgery during the offseason, but Dave did say that he is throwing. He has hopes that he could start a rehab assignment at some point in August. So he's a stretch run guy. He's a guy that get back late and be a stretch run guy. That's the biggest thing for him. And then Edgardo Henriquez. So I've asked Dave a couple times about Edgardo Henriquez. Have not really received very much concrete information. It's really interesting how they're playing the whole Edgardo Henriquez thing because he sustained a non-baseball injury. He broke his left metatarsal, had a left metatarsal fracture. It's been on the 60-day IL since March. And he was in Arizona. Dave did say that he was there in Arizona, of course, when they took on the Diamondbacks. So it was good to just kind of be around those guys. But we'll see. That's kind of the big one as far as another wild card is the Brusdar, the Edgardos, those types of guys. But that is where the Dodgers injuries stand right now. I know that was a long injury report, and that's because there's a lot of injuries. That's just unfortunately been the case for this team early on. But some good news, some news we're still waiting to learn more about. And stay tuned to Dodgers Nation after the game because I will be at the stadium today, and Dave Roberts is going to provide updates on a lot of these guys, and we'll get the latest a little later at Dodgers Stadium. But coming up next, we are going to hit the 7th inning stretch, and we got our first Dodgers Did You Know? We're going to start that series, and then we're going to answer all your questions. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
What's up, Dodgers Nation? J-Rob here, and I'm hyped to announce our brand new series coming to the platform, the Dodger Fan Cave Series. In this series, we'll be looking across the country for the best Dodger fan caves that you all have to offer. I don't care how big, how small. I don't care if it's a bedroom, a bathroom, a basement, even a small shrine in your office. If it's about the Dodgers, we want to see it. Every week, we'll be taking your submissions, putting them in a competition-style vlog, and selecting a winner. That lucky winner will not only get a Dodgers Nation certified fan cave certificate, but you'll also be featured on the Dodgers Nation platform, specifically YouTube, and maybe on your favorite live show. Shout out to Dodgers Dugout.
And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live. We got some comments. Aaron M., any of the Dodgers Nation crew going to the game tonight? I will be there tonight. Hopefully Noel will be there tomorrow. If you guys see us, you know the drill. Come up and talk some Dodger baseball. You guys know if I see you at the stadium, I'm always down to talk ball with you. Shiloh says the Dodgers where top pitchers come to rehab. LMFAO. That's a finish. That's a finish. That's a fire take. That's a fire take too. Yeah, have their mail sent to the IL because they just live there, right? That's what we used to say about some of these guys. But I'm hoping for some positive news. I'm hoping for some positive news from the starting pitchers right at the top because I think that is going to be the biggest determining factor of how aggressive the Dodgers will be at the trade deadline. But it is May 13th, and we've got some nice Dodgers Did You Knows for you. Here's our new segment, Dodgers Did You Know?
It's time for Dodgers Did You Know? A mind-blowing fact about your boys in blue.
All right, so today is May 13th, 1958. I mean, today's May 13th. I just went into a time machine, guys. I just hopped in my DeLorean. I'm in 1958. The Dodgers are here. This is awesome. We got them from Brooklyn. No, it's May 13th. And this day in Dodger history, back on May 13th, 1958, Charlie Neal hit an opposite field home run that became the first to clear the right field fence at the Coliseum. The dimensions at the Coliseum were so out of whack, but Charlie Neal, he hit one right over the right field fence. And then in 1991, on this date, Mike Scioscia, he caught his 1,219th game as a Dodger to become the all-time leader in games caught in LA history. Mike Scioscia, a Dodgers legend, part of that 1988 team that won it all. Love Mike Scioscia. I know a lot of you guys want to see him as the manager here. I've heard that for so many years. Of course, he won with the Angels. But my favorite for this day, back on May 13th, 2004, after singing the national anthem and God Bless America before the game against the Cubs, Jose Lima turned in the longest relief outing of his career, posting 5.2 scoreless innings. What a day at Dodger Stadium. Jose Lima, the last Dodgers pitcher, the last Dodgers player to sing the national anthem for the team. Let's check that out. We got the footage. Here's Jose Lima singing the national anthem at Dodger Stadium back on May 13th, 2004, before a Dodgers-Cubs game, an afternoon game. Jose Lima singing the national anthem. What a day. Jose Lima, just a legend, right? I mean, just going up there singing the way he did. You got this picture of him just kind of on the field. And look, the cool thing about Lima is he was so authentic, right? He believed in it. I mean, was he a great singer? Was he a bad singer? I think it was a good singer. I don't know. I think that he did a pretty nice job, but I'll always remember Jose Lima for what he did for this kid growing up in South Pasadena in middle school, and how he gave the Dodgers their first postseason win in 16 years. He did something that no Dodger pitcher had done for this organization since Orel Hershiser back in 1988 when he clinched the World Series in Game 5. He won a postseason game. And he didn't just do it against any team. He shut out the Cardinals in Game 3. The Dodgers won 4-0. If you remember that day, Dodgers fans back then, we'll take anything we could get. Regular season wins, division wins, but a postseason win at the time felt unattainable, and he gave the Dodgers a complete game shutout against the Cardinals. It was a special day at Dodger Stadium. What a moment. The towels, it was electric at Dodger Stadium that night. I mean, that season, Steve Finley had the walk-off grand slam against the Giants, and Lima had a 4.07 ERA that season, went 13-5. They didn't sign him until January 28th that year. He comes in, has a big impact, and has that big shutout. And yes, the Dodgers did not win that series, but for a franchise that struggled for so many years, you had the bad ownership with Fox, and everything they went through to finally have a postseason win was big. And it did have a tragic kind of ending for Jose Lima. I mean, he passed away very young at the age of 37. He was at a Dodger game a couple nights prior. The Dodgers honored him at that game, and then he passed away in his sleep a couple nights later. I'll never forget Vin Scully and his call when the Dodgers played their next game following his passing. He said, "Death will come like a thief in the night." In this particular case, it was Lima's time. The Vin Scully quote there that just really highlights just his greatness and how incredible he is as a broadcaster. So Lima Time. Do you guys remember Lima Time? You kind of had to be there. It's kind of one of those reels, one of those tweets you say he just kind of had to be there. Noel was like 3 at the time, but yeah, that wasn't Noel's time. That was Lima's time. But coming up next, it's your favorite part of the show, the 7th inning stretch, where we answer all of your questions about your boys in blue, read all your comments, and we're giving away a comment of the show.
The 7th inning stretch.
All right, we got AM. Who should we have from this team sing the national anthem? I like that. That's a really good question. Who would be really good? Well, Mookie's good at everything, so I think he could probably sing. I think Kike, I'll go with Kike. I think Kike would be the funniest. What do you see, Noel? Who's you got? Who's your pick there?
Jack Dreyer.
Jack Dreyer, that's a good point.
Got to.
That's the pick, actually. That's the pick. Jack Dreyer told me that he sang Piano Man by Billy Joel during spring training, and Anthony Bonda told me that usually they kind of give the guys crap because they didn't do a good job, but they all say that he was really impressive as a singer. And Jack Dreyer told me that that's one of his hidden talents, is that he is a singer. So that's the call right there. But I'm going for the entertainment. I kind of think Kike with the banana suit would be kind of fun. Bob Connolly, D-Mac, do you think Kershaw makes sense in a long inning relief like Kasperius and Bauer? Seems like you could start a right-hander, then bring in Kershaw to face dominant left-handed line. Look, I mean, I think that for him, he's such a creature of habit with his starting pitcher routine that you definitely kind of want to use him as a starter to see if he can get it done and give you 5+ innings that way. And then you kind of preserve those pieces after that. But look, I mean, I just don't see it. I really don't. I mean, you're going to tell Clayton Kershaw you can't face the top of the lineup. A guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, Kersh has given up home runs early in starts. We know that. But let's see how he looks first. And let's see how the arm responds, the toe responds, the knee responds. And hopefully he can just be your traditional starter that goes out there and gives you really solid innings. Nando 390, a couple of tequila shots and I can sing anything. Love that. Brianna Rochelle, question, D-Mac, when did the Dodgers call up Dalton? How long do they wait? Brianna Rochelle. So the thing about Dalton is he's not on the 40-man roster, so you'd have to make a roster move, and then he would not get everyday at-bats. So there's two things. If you bring up Dalton rushing and you have him sit, that doesn't make a lot of sense for a young player that's still developing as a hitter. So you want to allow him the chance to get those everyday at-bats. I think he'll be a September call-up. I think at the least, I think that they could have designs of having him on the postseason roster. We'll see how Conforto continues to play, and I think that he's kind of turned things around a little bit for sure. And I know that I saw the comments yesterday. Someone's like, oh, great, Conforto's got 2 hits. Now D-Mac's going to make him sound like he's Babe Ruth. Okay, I'm not saying he's like he's Babe Ruth, okay? But he's not the con or anything like that. So I think you'll see Dalton rushing, but I think it'll be later this summer. Of course, that's barring a injury. We've got Kellen B's Pete Rose is now unbanned. Is that breaking news?
Yes. It just happened just now a couple of minutes ago. The MLB announced that Pete Rose and a couple other guys have been.
Wow, that's huge news.
Yep,
that's huge news for Pete Rose to get unbanned. Of course, I mean you're talking about the all-time hits leader, 4,256 hits in Pete Rose's career, and you can't tell the story of Major League Baseball without Pete Rose. And now if he gets in the Hall of Fame, which he most likely will, well, you never know how the baseball writers are going to feel about that. I personally think that the Baseball Hall of Fame, as far as the writers having the ability to control who gets it in completely, I don't agree with that. I think that he should have already been in the Hall of Fame. That's my take on the situation for sure, just because you can't tell the story without him. But yeah, that's huge news. Jose Aguirre, D-Mac, if you would relive a game or moment over and over that's not the Freddie Slam, what would it be? Jose Aguirre. That's a really good question. It's tough not to say Kirk Gibson's home run in 1988, but I'm not going to say that, even though that was an electric moment, even though that was a moment that is right up there for the best moments ever in the history of not just the franchise, but all of Major League Baseball. I would say I'm going back to September 9th, 1965, and I'm watching Sandy Koufax's perfect game. And perfect games are rare. There's only 23 of them. I mean, you count Galarraga, 24, but still, the truth is they're extremely rare. Koufax at the peak of his powers against the Cubs that night. I'd take that game. That or Jackie Robinson's debut, one of those. Or honestly, the Game 7 of the 55 World Series, the Dodgers' their first World Series title with Sandy Almiroz and that catch he made in the game prior. So yeah, it's a short list for sure. It's a short list for sure, but I'm going Sandy Koufax's perfect game in that one. But I love that question there, by the way. That's awesome. Roy Estrada, Good for Rose and Jackson. Sad Rose is not here to appreciate it. Most deserving. Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, giving these guys their flowers when they're not here to smell them is definitely the issue you do have. I mean, I think with Gil Hodges, we saw he should have been in the Hall of Fame a lot earlier. And I think that's a really good point right there. And as Babe has a candy bar, Reggie had one, Newt Bar has one. Who would you give a candy bar to? D-Mac. Clearly the show, a Shohei Ohtani bar. I mean, that it has to be a Shohei Ohtani bar for sure. It had to be a Ohtani. I mean, I'm surprised that they don't even already have those in vending machines throughout Japan. But yeah, that'd be pretty awesome for sure. A Shohei like Butterfinger would be pretty awesome. A Snickers. Maximus NV. If Rose go into the Hall of Fame, so should Barry Bonds. Hall of Fame prior to the juice. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you can hate the Giants and Barry Bonds all you want. The truth is, as Maximus NV points out, Barry Bonds, before he did steroids, was a first ballot Hall of Famer and was already in the conversation for best hitters of all time. You know what's crazy about Barry Bonds? I mean, I can go on and on about Barry Bonds, but do you know that Barry Bonds literally has almost twice the amount of WAR as Ken Griffey Jr.? Like, Barry Bonds, 162.8 WAR in his career. Ken Griffey Jr., 83.8, which is just insane. Barry Bonds was he was in a class all by himself. I'm going to talk about him actually in the walk-off really quick here. We got Ohtani Bar chocolate matcha flavor from Aaron M. I love that. It's a fire take right there. Dodgers Ralph 89. I always remember the Finley Grand Slam to beat the Giants. That was one of my favorites. The Poison Clan. The best one was watching D-Mac drink beer out of his shoe a while back. Hey, Shohei Ohtani. Chuck McKain's going to be back soon. I'm due for a shoey. Need something big, though. Alex, and I should have done one after the Ohtani. Oh, no, it's not a walk-off. So, D-Mac, quit lying. Are you Will Smith's big brother or not? Look, I mean, there is no picture of us in the same place at the same time, but actually there is. So we kind of confirmed that. But, yeah, I am not related to Will Smith. But he does laugh when I do bring it up to him that people say I look like him. Or he looks like me, let's be honest. But Don Davis, Koufax is the GOAT. Had there been Tommy John surgery back then, he'd have been unstoppable. I love that. That's a comment of the show. The comment of the show. We've got, I remember Lima threw his glove at the ball and Scully didn't know whether it was an out or not. Yeah, that was awesome. I remember that too. Bruh. Yeah, I mean, that was about Lima. He was infectious personality. I mean, he had an infectious personality, energetic, electric, and the thing is he was good too. He had a really good year at the Astros. Eson Kim should be great at karaoke. He's from Dan T. Happy B-Day to Decoy. It's a Decoy's birthday. His second birthday. Wow. So excited for Decoy, man. He's just became a big brother. So happy for Decoy. Don Davis. Mookie said it best. The Padres have a loyal fan base, but we have one of these that holds up his ring finger. Oh, yeah. That's what Mookie said. Absolutely. Shout out to the Padres fans, but we got one of these. That's what Mookie said. Dave Roberts can twerk during the anthem. That's from Jose Aguirre. Well, that the comment of the show. We've got the Poison Clan D-Mac. If you see me at the stadium, thick tort is on me. ER1, see the red, says Shohei singing the national anthem, pitches a shutout, and hits the game-winning home run. There we go. That's a comment of the show. I can see it. I can see it for sure. We've got the spring training interview with Will Smith is in the locker room for Cedar 777. Yep, exactly. It has happened. Bob Connolly down here. We've got RIP, the Lux Bruh. Have faith a replacement will emerge. Bruh. Guys, at DMAC _LA, give me some clips of what you think it should be. But I know that some people will be sad if it's gone. Mr. Summer Obe, the beauty of being a Dodger fan is that, let's go a little bit up here, my man. Noel, we got the team doesn't need to bring up the young guys considered a luxury. Yeah, absolutely. But you can let them develop, but you also can't let them rot. And that's kind of the issue that they do have at times is sometimes you should trade guys earlier than you should, than you did, right? Mr. Summer Obe, did you know Shohei is challenging the modern record for runs scored in a year, now held by Babe Ruth at 177 runs scored? Yeah, right now Shohei Ohtani for the season, he's on a really feverish pace. He leads Major League Baseball with 44 runs scored. Last year, he led Major League Baseball with 134 runs scored. My man, all he does is score runs. Nando 390 decoy got more velo than Kershaw.
Finish him.
How about those new OKC hats? Dan T, they've grown on me for sure. I like them. For sure. They're clean. 4-seater 777. One of our favorites, 45-year-old Rich Hill, is trying to make a comeback. What do y'all think? I love me some Dick Mountain, man. Bring Dick Mountain back, and I'm here for it. Sign me up. BC, I like this. Do the crotch bump for the bruh. I like that. We'll consider it. Lux is still in it, so he kind of continues on his lineage. I had one about the Angels and the Padres being little brother. Which one is it? I would say you can have multiple siblings, okay? And you have multiple big brothers. I would say the Angels are the middle child, and the Padres, they're the little brother. Because at least the Angels have the Rally Monkey World Series. At least in 2002, they beat Bonds' Giants. Who'll ever forget Tim Salmon mouthing, "That's the farthest I've ever seen a ball hit," after Bonds hit that home run. So they're kind of like the redheaded evil stepchild more than the little brother. That's kind of who the Angels are. Doing weird stuff, trying to claim you're from Los Angeles. No, they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of California, of United States, of Earth, of Galaxy, of Universe. Come on, get out of here with that. You're the Anaheim. Go back to the California Angels. I will respect that. I'll respect that. KB, who confirmed the Japanese toilets are bringing up the morale in the clubhouse, KB. It was kind of funny. I was in the clubhouse a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, what if I was just like, hey, I really got to go. It's an emergency. I mean, they would have to let me go, right? They're not going to tell me I can't use the toilets. Then I would go and see them for myself, get that nice warmth on the seat, play some music. I might try to pull that stunt at some point.
You gotta let them know that you had that slugger, so you gotta go use the restroom real quick.
Exactly. I mean, hey, if you're gonna sell that slugger, that 16-inch slugger, you never know when you're gonna have to go. I like that, Noel. It's a good point for sure. Steve Sapo, Beltre's big year with the Dodgers. He had a bad ankle. Analysts said it helped. Just saying, Freddie. Steve Sapo. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about that tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit about it too. But you're talking about Freddie Freeman, and Freddie Freeman has been playing through injury all season. His ankle is not at 100%. It requires a ton of treatment just for him to play. He said recently to The Athletic that it requires 90 minutes of treatment just to get onto the field. He wears heel lifts and wraps the ankle just to play. He doesn't know when it'll be at 100%. That's from Fabian Ardai's piece in The Athletic. Think about how insane that is. I mean, that's just crazy when you look at a guy that's been this good. I mean, he's literally on pace to have his best season. And you don't typically see that. Unless steroids are involved, you typically don't see guys play their best baseball at this stage of their career. 35, going to be 36 in September. And Freddie Freeman is balling out of control. Has a 216 weighted runs created plus, hitting 376. I mean, the guy's just red hot at the plate to start the season. You mentioned the ankle injury. Look, go back to game 1 of the World Series. If you're Nestor Cortez and you're looking at Freddie Freeman's heat maps, you're saying to yourself, that's where I wanted to pitch him, right on the inner half. Can he get to that ball? Can he turn on it? Well, Freddie has mentioned having that rib injury, you kind of had to overcompensate for it, and that kind of allowed him to make that adjustment to turn on that pitch and hit that rocket shot and hit the first walk-off grand slam in World Series history. So it's a great point you bring up right there is some players, because of necessity and adjusting to performing with those injuries, can kind of unlock something too. So have we unlocked the best version of Freddie Freeman? We talked about him at the time of the show, but congratulations to him, by the way, too, getting the National League Player of the Week. Okay, some more here. We've got David Raw, California Angels gear would fly off the shelf. Yeah, I mean, seriously, my granddad, he had a really sick California Angels jacket with it had the California, the shape of the state, and then had the star where Anaheim is, where they actually play. Their merch is pretty sick. I mean, it's not Dodger blue. It's not iconic Dodger blue, but also too, I don't know if there's a hot take. I think their best uniform set, I'm going to duck, but that late 90s, early 2000s A with the angel wing on it when it was angels in the outfield and there were Disney. You had the pinstripes. Mo Vaughn. Who remembers that? You guys like that set? I don't know. Noel, you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that?
We got to pull up a picture.
So it's like Carolina blue and the hat's navy and the Angels A is red and it's got a wing on it. They were kind of polarizing at the time, but kind of feel it. But some more here, guys. Great. Ray Barrios, great as long as Kershaw doesn't make a start in October. Okay, for some reason, the Kersh hate is starting before he has made a first start. Come on now. All right. John Dewar, I like this. Lux is having an okay year, but Sirota is crushing the minors and looking like the top 5 pick he was projected to be. 373 average, 7 home runs is a great start. Will be a top 100 prospect in a month. Yeah, John, go back. If you guys want to watch my interview with Mike Sirota, special kid, lots of talent. Gonna have him on the show hopefully very soon. Once again, he's the real deal. And I love that you pointed out. Give you a nice comment of the show for that. Okay, guys, getting late, get close to the 9th inning here. So let's get the walk off.
The walk-off.
So today for the walk off, it's funny that someone mentioned Barry Bonds because a few days ago, Dave Roberts said about Shohei Ohtani and Barry Bonds after Shohei hit that dramatic 3-run home run late to put the Dodgers on top 14-11. Dave said between him and Barry Bonds, they're the 2 best players I've ever seen. I played with Barry, but what Shohei does in the clutch, I never seen anything like what he does in the clutch. So he's putting Barry Bonds and Shohei Ohtani in the same sentence, which as a hitter, Barry Bonds takes a back seat to absolutely no one. Look at the statistics. I know that someone said after he had his 50-50 season that Shohei Ohtani's year last year would have been Barry Bonds' 11th best season. That factors in some of the steroid years. But even if you look at the pre-steroid Barry Bonds, yeah, I mean, trust me, it was San Francisco, right? I mean, he was roiding and his head got bigger than Bruce Bochy's, which is impossible because Barry was roiding like crazy, allegedly. But even before that, I mean, he was putting up 10 WAR seasons in 93 at a 10 WAR season, 1990 at a 10 WAR season. And look, yes, you could say that Barry Bonds in his best season, even before the steroids, was a really good hitter, the best hitter we've ever seen as far as stats. I texted someone within the Dodgers today that played with Barry Bonds, and he told me that he was the most feared hitter that they've ever seen. Most feared hitter in the history of baseball. He was intimidating like no one else and the most complete hitter of all time. And look, Barry Bonds as a hitter takes a backseat to no one. Shohei Ohtani, one of the best hitters of all time too, if you look at his rate stats and how he fares. But the big kicker is here, make Barry Bonds throw a pitch. And it's a 50-mile-per-hour pitch that someone's crushing, right? It's a position player pitching. When Shohei Ohtani pitches, the argument ends. But I think for Shohei, for him to kind of end as the greatest player ever and join that group with the Willie Mazes, the Barry Bondses, the Hank Aaron's, just the all-time greats, the Babe Ruths, the Ted Williamses. You got to see Shohei Ohtani do this for another 5 or 6 seasons at the plate, and then you want to see him pitch for another 2 to 3 more years at an elite level. I think if you get that body of work as a pitcher, then it'll make up for whatever he lacks in overall WAR numbers. I think that's the case. I really do. I mean, right now, he has a 46 WAR in his career. To be considered for the Hall of Fame, you need to hit 60 WAR to really just be in the conversation. He's going to blow past that easily, right? He's still a young player relative to how long some of the other guys played. But, I mean, look at guys like Barry Bonds and even guys like Albert Pujols, Mike Trout. Mike Trout in his overall career is at 85 WAR. So I think for Ohtani, is he the most feared hitter in baseball right now? It's between him and Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, he's a guy that, he drives a Bentley too, right? I mean, he lives in a mansion too. He's that guy too. He's really like that. But I think with Shohei, there's this special ability for him to not only perform in these moments, but get those opportunities. And I think what he wants to have happen this year for Shohei is be healthy in the World Series and shine on the biggest stage. I think that's what I want to see from Shohei, because last year he was injured in the World Series and it was impacting with the plate. He was not, I bet you he was probably 50% of what he typically is. Just the way that he was coming off balls and he just wasn't the same hitter. I think that this year Shohei even elevates to a whole nother level. So yeah, give me Shohei Ohtani over Barry Bonds because the guy can pitch. But for being honest, we all hate Barry Bonds because he was a giant, but still, you have to admit that the guy was the most feared hitter to ever walk this earth. I mean, he got walked to the bases loaded. I mean, the guy was crazy, but that's going to do it. But still, Shohei, he's going to go down as the GOAT. I'm telling you. That's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.